Are you dying to be that 1v9 Kale player who absolutely stomps her enemies just like a Yasuo with a 0-10-0 power spike?
Hey, don't laugh you idiot, that power spike is real.
Well, do not worry, because in the next few minutes I'll explain you all her abilities, builds and combos, with tips and tricks for the cherry on the top. So sharpen up your swords, and let's jump into the world of Wild Rift. Kale is one of the most unique champions in this game. And her passive Divine Ascent is what makes her unique. Kale evolves herself at level 5, 10 and 15. She starts as a melee champion at level 1. At level 1, auto attacks will grant you attack speed and bonus movement speed. You can have a maximum of 5 stacks. At this stage you're probably getting bullied and regretting on why you picked Kale. But your time will come, trust me. When you hit level 5, Kale evolves and becomes a ranged champion. At this point, you're at a good position since your attacks are ranged and you can easily farm or poke safely from distances. But you're still not quite strong. When you hit level 10, at this very moment you turn into a supreme bully. After having 5 stacks, your basic attacks deal AoE damage. Kale releases fire waves dealing insane damage to enemies caught in it. At this point, you're very strong and you'll feel like some Greek god who can demolish anyone coming in their way. But don't get carried away, you're still very squishy. Now, the best power spike comes at level 15. Reaching level 15 increases her attack range and also the fire waves become permanent. This is what I'd call the ultimate Super Saiyan form. If you reach this point, then the game is as good as yours. Doesn't matter how far behind you are or how many objectives you lost. You'll be winning the game, provided you don't make stupid mistakes and play with your team. Her first ability is Radiant Blast. Kale launches a celestial sword that deals magic damage to enemies hit. This ability pierces through enemies, so you can hit multiple enemies in a straight line. Upon hitting, it shreds the armor and magic resistance of enemies. So using this at the start of a team fight will maximize the damage output by a lot. But do not spam this ability, it costs a lot of mana. Her second ability is Celestial Blessing. Kale grants a minor heal and movement speed to herself and a nearby ally. The heal from this isn't much, but it could really help you survive in lane, especially since you're very weak in early game. You can also use this ability to save your teammate from dying or help them escape. This ability can also help you to do faster ganks and cut your enemy's path to prevent them from escaping.
Meow meow nigga!
Her third ability is Starfire Spellblade. Her next basic attack becomes ranged, dealing magic damage to the targeted enemy. This ability is really handy to farm safely and poke in early game, since Kale is a melee champ at the start. A very big advantage of this ability is that it doesn't cost any mana to cast it. So you can spam this ability and just farm safely until you're strong enough to trade. After hitting level 10, this ability is upgraded and deals AoE damage to enemies. This makes Kale even more stronger in teamfights. Kale's ultimate is Divine Judgment. Kale goes up in air and grants invulnerability to herself or an allied champion. Upon landing, she deals magic damage to enemies in the area. Her ultimate is really great to dodge burst damage and then counter with your ultimate damage. You can even save your teammates on low health by casting your ultimate on them. Can really turn the outcome of a fight. Quick tip, your ultimate can also dodge turret damage. So you can do easy dives with your team, without fearing that you'll die to a turret shot. Moving on to the build and runes. For Kale, the first item should be Nashor's Tooth. It gives her ability power and attack speed, which is her main strength. So getting this first makes Kale somewhat decent in early game. Wit's End should be her second item. Gives you more attack speed, as well as magic resistance. Third item should be Rabadon's Death Cap. Don't need to explain on why this is an important item for most AP champions. The value it provides is just insane. For the boots you can go for Mercury Treads or Plated Steel Caps. If enemy has more CC and magic damage, build Mercury Treads or else build Steel Caps for more armor. For the fourth item, build Hextech Gunblade. It's very valuable late game since it gives you AD, AP and Vamp as well. Increases your sustain by a lot in teamfights. For the final item, Void Staff is a must. Because as you'd reach late game, most of the enemies would have magic resistance. Void Staff will help you shred those very easily. For the Keystone Rune, Conqueror is just the best option for Kayle. You can opt for Fleet Footwork as well, if you are laning against a ranged champion. But I'll highly recommend to go Conqueror. On the second row, go for Gathering Storm. This rune scales really well into late game. In the third row, go for Hunter Titan. Gives you tenacity, as well as bonus health on unique takedowns. Alternatively, you can go for Bone Plating as well. And last but not the least, Sweet Tooth is your last rune. For the spells, pick Flash and Shield.
Motions are a weakness.
The combos for Kayle are quite simple. There's only one combo which you need to know, which is the 1-3 auto attack combo. Your first ability will slow enemies and shred their armors, which will help you deal the maximum damage in the next few seconds. After doing this, just keep auto attacking because that's Kayle's main strength. Well, that's all, and I hope you enjoyed this one. See you in the next video.
Celestial realm awaits.